Good evening, everybody. What's happening here? Okay, I'm having some technical difficulties. Let me try. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I know we have some early birds here tonight. So we're going to get started in just a moment. Just give me a sec to address this technical difficulty. For those of you who are on YouTube, we are live. Thank you for joining. And we're getting connected to our Facebook viewers. All right. Welcome. Good evening. Perfect. Technical difficulty addressed. We're good to go. Hi, Rose. Hi, Carlene. Welcome to class. I'm Prof. St. Francis, your personal development educator, and you are in tune to the self-awareness series. We're in module 1, which is the introduction to self-awareness, and we will soon announce the topic for this evening. But if you're watching, let me know where you're joining from. If it's your first time, let me know. If you are returning to class tonight, let me know as well. We are going to go ahead and get started. Last week we delayed a bit to get other people on, but we're going to go and get started. We're going to start early today so we can leave early. All right. Does that sound like a good plan? Yes, sounds like a good plan. All right, perfect. So let's begin. Oh, before we begin, I want to encourage everybody who has not purchased the self-development, the self-growth worksheets to do that. This is what it looks like. You can get it PDF emailed to you, and you can also get it via Kindle in digital form. All right. For those of you who just want to look at it digitally, for those of you who want the PDF so you can print that out, you want to go ahead and get that. How do you get that? I'm going to put the link on screen so you can grab those at any time. So self-growth worksheets, this is the Kindle version. Let me just copy this here. And I'm going to put that in the comments section for you on both Facebook and YouTube, because we're live on both platforms tonight. So you can grab that. Let me copy this for you and send this on over. This is the Kindle version. That's the digital version. I do recommend, though, that you get the PDF, because you can print that out, you can write on it, which I recommend 100%. All right, let me grab the PDF link, and you can pay for that. The PDF is $20, taxes included, and the Kindle is $9.99. But again, I do recommend that you get the PDF version. And for those who have their self-growth worksheets, how is it going? I know that Carlene, right, you contacted me this week for us to sort through some things with that. So I know you have that ready, and hopefully you did your homework and you're good to go. So get the buenas noches, Rose. Buenas noches. All right, get the self-growth worksheets. Without further ado, we are going to begin lesson 2. But before we begin lesson 2, we're going to do some revision. Oh, I forgot. For those of you who want the QR code, I'm just going to leave the QR code on screen so you can always, so that's the QR code somewhere around this end, right? So you can scan the QR code with your phone and you can order the self-growth worksheets using the QR code on screen. All right, let us begin. Class is in session. Let's start. So again, we're looking at the series. Okay. All right, cool. So we're looking at the series self-awareness, moving from confusion to confidence. We looked at lesson 1, which we're going to review in just a few seconds, and then we will begin with lesson number 2. Right? For those of you who have not yet become a member of our communities online, I'm going to encourage you to become a member. So stay connected, right? Our handle is Thrive at Eurique One, and that's on screen. So Thrive at Eurique One. You can find us on TikTok, and our TikTok page needs some love. We're building that out. It's very useful. You get techniques, practical techniques that you can use every single day to increase self-awareness, to increase productivity. Someone actually reached out to me today and she said, wow, this is so great. I'm going to practice that calendar strategy, that calendar technique that you shared on TikTok. So you want to go over to TikTok and search for Thrive at Eurique One, and you will find nuggets every single day. We post at 6 a.m. every day, and the nuggets are really, really good. Practical things that you can apply to your life. Come on in. Let's know where you're coming from as you join us this evening. You can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. We have our Facebook page. Of course, we're here on YouTube as well, and we're also on LinkedIn. And if you want to partner with us for the services, we offer online courses, workshops. We do workshops for corporate. We do workshops in religious organizations. We do workshops for community-based programs. We go into schools where we teach about self-awareness and how you can become a better person, professional workshops. So we do all of that. We have been doing that. So if you want to leverage those services, we do speaking services as well. I'm a public speaker, motivational speaker. I do event hosting as chairperson and so on. So you can visit our website at thriveateurique.com. thriveateurique.com, and then from there I'm actually going to put the website in the chat for you, so you can always find that in the comment section. All right. So there you go. It's coming up. thriveateurique.com, where you can book us for those services. And you can also reach out if you're interested in learning more, talking more through different points, through collaboration. You can reach out. You can call us. You can text us. We're on WhatsApp as well. The number is on screen, 631-635-0431. 0431. All right, let's move forward. So we're at module 1, introduction to self-awareness, right? And we've looked at lesson 1, which is the introduction to self-awareness. What's it all about? The types of self-awareness, etc. Then we're moving into lesson 2 tonight. And by next week, we would have completed module 1. So we are in this thing together, and we're taking our time and going through it. So let's review module 1. Understanding self-awareness and its importance. So last week, just as a refresher, and if you want to type in the chat, go ahead, fast fingers, put it in the chat. So we define self-awareness. If you want, just to refresh your memory, what is self-awareness? You can put that in the chat. Go ahead and put that in the chat. You can have a gander at any one of the points on screen. We also looked at identifying and distinguishing between internal self-awareness and external self-awareness. So we learned last week that self-awareness is not just about the internal part of it, about what you think about yourself, what you know about yourself, but it also includes the external piece, the impact we have on the environment, the impact we have on others, and how others externally impact us. So there are two faces to self-awareness. And we also looked at the benefits of self-awareness. So on this topic, when we talked about the benefit of self-awareness, we looked at improved emotional regulation. We spoke about enhanced decision making. We spoke about better relationships, and we also spoke about enhanced decision making, right? So emotional regulation, right? Better relationships, enhanced decision making, and how we also interact with others, interpersonal relationships. So those are some of the benefits that we looked at. And we also shared some ways that you can develop your self-awareness. We spoke about mindfulness being one of the ways, being present in the present right now, not running back in the past, not running ahead in the future, but taking the time to ground ourselves in terms of what's happening right now. We also looked at reflecting regularly, right? We're doing just a quick overview here. We reflect regularly, whether we're doing journaling, whether we're just sitting down quietly, reflecting mentally, whether we're getting input from others. Welcome, come on in, come on in. For those who are late, come to the front of the class. we also spoke about seeking feedback from others who are trusted, and this is an assignment that I gave you. I ask you to check in with someone whom you trust and someone who is trustworthy, and ask them to share one positive thing about you and one thing that needs some development, something that's not so desirable about you, and then you would discuss that. So hopefully you did that exercise. If you did it, put one in the chat. Put one in the chat, put one in the chat, and then you'll be good to go. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. All right. So let me know if you did that exercise. And then the other piece to the assignment, which was found in the self-growth worksheets, I asked you to complete the third activity in the book, right? So the first activity, I should say, the first activity is the self-awareness exploration guide. And I asked you to complete the third activity in the self-awareness exploration guide, which was page 9 and 10, if I'm remembering correctly. I have my worksheet on my phone here. So this is what it looks like. So you were supposed to read the scenario on page 9 and complete the activity based on that scenario. You did need to, yes, you need to do your assignment. You need to do your assignment. And the good thing is, after you completed page 9 and 10, the answer sheet was there. All right, the answer sheet was there. So you were supposed to do activity number 3 and also activity number 4. So page 9 to page 11. And after you completed those two activities, the answer sheet was there for you to check your answers. And let me know if anybody has any insight about the activity that you like to share, a question you like to ask, something that stood out to you, anything from those two activities that you got homework for. Okay, teacher, I'm going around and I'm looking and I'm marking and I'm giving you insights, and I really want to know what your experience was, right? So that's the foundation and the revision from last class. Let's now move in to the topic for today. And the topic for today is exploring personal identity. Personal identity is critical to self-awareness. If you do not know what constitutes your personal identity, if you do not know what affects your personal identity, if you don't know why you are the way you are, why you believe the things you believe, why you have certain opinions on the things you have opinions of, then you're not really self-aware. So we're going to dig deep tonight and look at your personal identity. What makes me, you can point to yourself and say, what makes me, me? If you're driving, keep your hand on the steering, right? Just listen. What makes me, me? What is my personal identity? Okay. So at the end of today's class, you should be able to do 3 things. You should be able to define something called self-concept. That's how you are going to determine if you are learning and if you have engaged in the process tonight. You should be able to define self-concept. Number 2, you should be able to explore the influences on your self concept, because self concept is what will transform into your personal identity. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, okay, good. And then the third thing is, if you do not have a healthy self concept, you want to develop a healthy self concept. And I'm going to share some strategies with you that you can try, that you can exercise, that you can utilize throughout the coming week. Okay, all right, good. And if you already have a healthy self concept, we're going to make that healthier. We're going to make that healthier. All right, let's move forward. So let's define self concept. In fact, even before I define it for you, I would like you to tell me, what does self concept mean? Self concept. What is that? What does it mean to you? And remember, in this class, there's no right answer, wrong answer. We're all on this journey together. And you best believe, no matter what answer you give me, I'm going to draw a positive out of that. Right? I'm going to connect it somehow to the topic, because we're all here to learn together and learn from each other. So put in the chat. I'm waiting. No worries. I'm waiting. Tell me, what is self-concept to you? When you hear that term, even if you've never heard it before, type in the chat, let me know what it is. Oh, I forgot to share this. Listen, if you're online, you definitely want to share the link with someone. I should have said that at the beginning. Go ahead and share the link with someone. Someone needs to hear this tonight. Someone out there is struggling with personal identity. Someone out there is wondering, do I know who I am? Do I have self awareness? I need help. I need a community that I can journey with. So definitely send that link. All right. So while you put that in the chat, I'm going to check in on the comments and do some call out, some roll call. Hi, Rose. Hola. Hi, Carlene. Good night to you. Good evening, Melanie. Good evening. Okay, someone said buenas noches. Hi, Tam Tam. Pleasant evening to you as well. Another Rose is in the house. Good evening. Melissa is here as well. Good evening to you. Rose says the Kindle only gives me the front page. The others are there. Like if you do the sample for the Kindle version of the self-growth worksheet, if you just do the sample, then it will just give you a little piece of it. But if you actually go in and purchase that, or it's a part of the Kindle Select, then you'll be able to see the full thing. All right. Verla says, hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope you had a blessed day. I had a good day. It was a productive day, but it was a good day. And Lejem says, I need to do my assignment. I don't want your assignment to back up on you, you know. So you need to do your assignment. All right, so let's dig in. What is self-concept? What is it? Let's talk about it. So self-concept is a comprehensive understanding of who you are. Comprehensive. It doesn't mean that you know everything about yourself, but you have a really good understanding of the person you are. And the truth is that in terms of our self-concept, it's developed every single day, because every day we meet someone, we go through an experience, we have an encounter, we make decisions that impact our self-concept. So it's not saying that you have a perfect understanding of who you are. Self-concept is having a comprehensive understanding of who you are. For every single person on this call, you have an area of your life that you are a subject matter expert in. We call it a SME, SME. You're a SME, you're a subject matter expert. For some of you, you may be a subject matter expert in baking, in nurturing children. You may be a subject matter expert in being a mom, in being a sister, in your professional world, in getting people to feel comfortable. That does not mean that you know everything, but you have a comprehensive understanding of that knowledge. And so Suzanne says, good evening. My view of self-concept is your beliefs, your values, and also your personality, and understanding that. Wonderful. Angela says, things I believe about myself that I believe are true. So here's the thing. This is a very good point, because with self-concept, if you have a comprehensive understanding of yourself, it's about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Make sense? It's about what's good about you. You understand that. What's not so good about you, things that you need to develop. It's comprehensive. So when I meet someone and I may say we're engaged in a conversation, I'm like, okay, describe yourself, or we're talking about our personalities, or we're talking about our self-concept. When someone says to me, these are the things that I'm great at, but these are the things that, I'm not so great at, that gives me a very good idea of whether that person has a good self-concept and self-awareness. Have you ever been in an interview where they ask you to identify something that you're not so good at or something that you want to improve? It's not so much that they want to know what you suck at, right? They want to know if you have a good self-concept. Because people who have good self-concepts and self-awareness, they're easier to cohabitate with. It's easier to work with them. If you meet somebody on the other side of the spectrum, right, where they don't know what their weaknesses are, they think that they are perfect and they're not losing. I am the best. I am the life of the party. There's nothing about me that needs to improve. I'm just perfect in all my way. I'm formed and created in perfection. If anything goes wrong, it's all you, baby, and not me. Those people are dangerous. I must tell you. Yeah. Those people are absolutely dangerous. Hi, Shanavia. Hi, authentically speaking. Truth be gold. Let me see. Tamsin says, good night. Thanks for having me here. Pastor Francis, not Pastor Francis at all, just Pops and Francis, but it's good to have you here. Maybe Pastor Francis invited you, right? Okay. All right. No problem. So self-concepts, it's going to shape how you perceive your worth. It's going to shape how you perceive your capabilities and your place in the world. Let that soak in a bit. Blessings, good evening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing the link, everyone. So self-concept is going to determine how you perceive your worth, how you perceive your capabilities, and what place you have in this world. It includes 3 things. And I want you to guess what those 3 things are. Maybe you know, which is fine. Put it in the chat. So self-concept includes 3 things. And before you type, I have a clue for you. Each of these things begins with the word self. So put it in the chat. There are 3 things that if you know the difference and understand these 3 things, you're in a really good position to develop, improve your self-awareness, your self-concept. And these 3 things start with the word self. Have a go at it. Have a go at it. Eddie, I'm just looking at your handle. Good evening. I'm a bit late. No worries. Come on in. Come on in. Got the link from your mom. Okay. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Mom. All right. So Rose says one of the aspects to develop your self-concept is the word self-confidence. So we have 1 go in the chat. Those on Facebook, come on in. Those on YouTube, type it in the chat. We are engaged here. We are engaged here. So Rose and Donna agree that self-confidence is one of those 3 things that help to develop your self-concept. your self-concept. Tamisha says self-esteem is one of the three things that help to develop your self-concept. I promise you this. If you know these three things, you are going to be in such a great position to recalibrate or improve or begin your journey of your self-concept. All right. Claudine says self-aware, self-confidence, self-motivated. Those are your three. Love it. Fiona says self-esteem and self-actualization. Those are your two. All right. And then Tamisha says self-love. So we have some really great answers in the chat. Antoinette, I'm seeing self-worth, self-esteem, and self-awareness as your three. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's reveal the three things that help to contribute to your self-concept tonight in class. And you will see if your answer is correct, half correct, but I want to say everybody did well. Everybody did well. Ione says self-respect, self-confidence, and self-esteem. Let's reveal it. To-doom, 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 to-doom. These are the three things that help to develop your self-concept, your comprehensive understanding of who you are. All right. First is self-image. Did anybody shout 30? You said self-image. You did. Congratulations. Good job. So self-image is one. And someone, you can type it in the chat. Number two is self-esteem. Did anybody say self-esteem? I'm seeing a number of people saying self-esteem in the chat. So that's awesome. And then number three is your ideal self. Ideal self doesn't begin with self, but it has the word self in there. So self-image, self-esteem, ideal self. Put in the chat. Did you know that these things are different before tonight? Before tonight, did you know that self-image, self-esteem, and ideal self, they were different? Talk to me. Put it in the chat. Yes or no. No shame in your game. No shame in your game. Did you know that they were different? Self-image, self-esteem, and ideal self. And I believe that some of the confusion you have about your personal identity is going to make so much more sense when you're able to differentiate these three things. And it's very important. Let me go back to this slide. And the second point says that self-concept shapes how you perceive your worth. If you do not know the difference between self-image, between self-esteem, and your ideal self, your worth is going to be messed up when it's not even your self-worth that's in question. But you're going to associate things with your self-worth when they're not. They're just your self-image. We're going to get into it. Your capabilities and even how you see yourself, your placement in this world. All right. Okay. Let's delve in. So let me go to the comments. So persons are saying, yes, I know that they were different. Let's delve into their differences now. All right. So self-image, this is the way you see yourself, including your physical appearance, your habits, your abilities, your talents, and your roles. Think about it as your current picture of yourself. The current picture. How do you see yourself? So if I'm going to ask you to apply this in terms of your physical appearance, put a sentence or a word in the chat. What is your self-image in terms of your physical appearance? For me, I'm going to say I'm tall. That's my physical appearance. That's my self-image. I see myself as a tall person. Okay. I may see myself as a chunky person. That's physical appearance. right? So put something in the chat, something you're comfortable with, no problem. Carlene says, for my self-image in terms of physical appearance, I'm short. These things sometimes are so easy to identify. Put something in the chat. Shorty. All right, not just short, but shorty. All right, cool. That works. That works. Anything else? Physical appearance. You're black. You're brown. You're Caucasian. You're Asian. You're loud. You're soft spoken. State the things. Someone says, I have big eyes. Wonderful. That's your physical, that's your self image. I'm working on it. All right. No worries. Work on it and put it in the chat. Come on, everybody. Come on. Fiona says, I am slim. J. Eddie says, I am short and I'm fluffy. We're talking about our self image. What about your habits? How do you see yourself? Are you a morning person? Are you a late? Are you usually tardy? Are you punctual? What about your habits? I like this. Claudine says tall and shapely. That's your self image. All right. Tall and bald. Okay, good. So we're getting the self image out. Anything about habits? Let's move from the physical and let's go to the habitual. Anything about your habits, things that you observe about yourself, the current picture of yourself. All right. So Carlene says, in terms of my self image, I identify myself as a morning person. All right. Anything else in terms of habits? And it's just making observations. Are you a tardy person? Are you a neat person? Talk to me. Just making observations. You're not putting any meaning to them at this point. That's what self-image is. All right. So let me help. Morning person, Carlene says, great. Some other everyday examples could be, I am not good at public speaking. That's a self-image. All right. That's an observation that you're making based on your abilities and your talents. I'm not good at public speaking, or I am. Okay, Tammy says, I'm a night person. Jade Ellie said, I am witty. Okay, I love it. All right. It could, another self-image observation could be, I see myself as shy, or I see myself as confident. Antoinette says, I'm intuitive. Okay. Another one says, I gardening, something about gardening. You like gardening in terms of your habits. All right. Suzanne says, I'm clean and I'm organized. Claudine says, I'm very punctual and I love to laugh. This is your self-image. Another example could be, I'm the responsible one in my family, or I'm not the responsible one in my family. Now, if you don't know the difference between self-image and self-esteem that we're going to get to, you can crash your own destiny. I'm going to say that again. Let me remove the PowerPoint. If you don't know the difference between your self-image and your self-esteem, you can crash your own destiny. Let that sink in. If you don't know the difference between your self-image and your self-esteem, you can live a life of imposter syndrome. You can live a life of constantly wondering if you are good enough. All right. And you have an activity in the self-growth worksheets that will help you to solidify this. But for tonight, we're doing it together so it becomes easier. Rose says, I am brave. Ione says, I am pleasant. Angela says, short and chubby. Rose says, and I'm bold. These are your self-image, okay? Your current state. Let's go back to our PowerPoint lesson. Let's talk about self-esteem now. We're going to bring this up a notch. Self-esteem, listen to this. Your sense of personal value or self-worth. Whoa. All right, let's complete this. Your sense of personal value or self-worth, often influenced by how you feel you meet personal and societal expectations. So it's the emotional value you place on yourself. Don't worry, we're going to strip it right down. Let's read that again. Let's read it again. Read it with me. Your sense of personal value or self-worth often influenced by how you feel, you meet personal and societal expectations, the emotional value you place on yourself. Whoa, we're gonna break this down right now. We're gonna break this down. So many of you tonight, without effort, some of you with effort, you gave opinions of your self-image. But we're going to talk about self-esteem. What value do you place on yourself because of that self-image? How do you feel because of that self-image? That's where the worth and the personal value comes in. I want to pause here to say to every single person, I'm going to lean in. Okay. I need to do my eyebrows, right? I'm going to lean in. Every single person on the live tonight, every single person who will watch the recording, you are valued. You are priceless. You are worth more than you can ever know. I want to speak that into somebody tonight before we continue the class. Your value is more than your self-image, your physical habits and behaviors and talents. It's more than that. You have an innate value that has been given to you by the Creator Himself. That is not dependent upon any of your physical features or your ability. So let me just put that right there. Okay, one moment. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Are you seeing me? Okay, I'm back. So I just wanted to speak that into your life so you know. Amen to that. All right, so let's talk about it. I'm going to give you an example, and then you will find an example of a time in your life. If you want to share it now, you can. If you don't want to share it in the chat, you can definitely do that personally or with someone in your home. Is there an aspect of your self-image that you have applied value to or no value to? Because that's where self-worth comes in. Okay. So I'm going to share an example with you. There is this young lady that I know. She's always been tall. Okay. She's always been the tallest in her class. Growing up as a child, she's always been definitely taller than the girls and definitely taller than the boys. Always. And so her self-image would be, I am tall. It's a fact. I'm tall. But then her self-esteem or her self-worth was affected by that self-image because the value she placed on being tall during that stage in her life was a negative value. So this is what it would look like. My self-image is I am tall, but the value that she placed to that is I am not good enough. I do not fit in. That's the value. And where did that value come from? It came from societal expectations that guys were supposed to be taller than girls, or girls were not supposed to be that tall at that age. Do you see where I'm getting at? Do you see where I'm getting at? So some of you shared with me some what you would consider positives. I'm tall, I'm short, I'm chubby, I'm slim. Can you identify something in your life, a self-image, an aspect of who you are, where you added value to that, and what was the value? What was the value? Because understanding that is going to open doors as to why we behave the way we behave in some situations. So for that young lady in her childhood years, remember the image, self-image was I am tall, fact. My observation of myself, not necessarily fact because tall is relative, right? But her observation of herself was I'm tall. And the personal value was, I'm not good enough. I'm weird. I'm out of place. That's the value she placed on that, a negative value. And that came as a result of societal expectations. So, can you imagine if she were not self aware, and she wasn't because she was a child, right? And she did not know the difference between her self image and her self esteem, she would carry that self esteem, that negative value, and accept that as who she is. So if someone were to say, "Oh, you're so tall," and they may mean it as a compliment because of the value she placed on being tall at that age, she saw it as something negative. Hello, somebody. Come on, come to the front of the class. I know some of you are having epiphanies this evening because you're sitting, standing, lying in bed thinking, "Oh, that's why I respond the way I respond when someone mentions that particular thing about me, that I know it's true because I observe it in my life." It's not the observation that's the issue, it's the value. Look here, let me sip some water because come on, talk to me. Put it in the chat if it's connecting or not. Put it in the chat. Is it connecting? Is it not connecting? I know it's connecting. I'm going to the comments. I'm going to the comments. I suffer guilt sometimes when I tell people no, okay? Think this probably has something to do with my bam, 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 bam. So self-esteem is not, "Oh, I just have low self-esteem," and, "Oh, I'm just a nobody." State what the self-image is. My observation about myself is that we're going to work through this now. And I'm not your psychologist. I'm not your counselor. I'm your personal development educator. I am sharing with you the things. If you want counseling, go to sitetuneservices.com and you can get your counseling there so you can really work through these things with a counselor. Okay, so what would be the self-image there? I'm going to call you V. I'm not going to call out your name over the end. I'm going to say VS. What would be your self-image there? The self-image would be the observation. I don't like telling people no. All right, there's nothing wrong with that. But where it becomes sticky and tricky is when you assign a value to that, and your value based on what you put in the chat is it's something bad. It's something that's not valued for whatever reasons, and we're going to explore the reasons. So it now affects the esteem. So when somebody comes and they ask you for something and you say no, your self-esteem is affected because you feel badly about yourself. Talk to me, VS. Does that make sense? Talk to me. Let me know. Okay. Okay. All right. CM. I'm talking to you now. I add high value on everything about me, which is great. The positive things, right? But there's some things that are not good about us, and we need to check those as well. All right. Wonderful. Rose M says, growing up, I used to have very low self-esteem. And think about it, Rose M. Some of the things that affected or esteem, right? They were not bad things. They were perceived as bad by us because of the value that we attached to them. So if you're poor and you couldn't afford, I've learned stories of people who used to go to school barefooted. And for that person, the self-image is I go to school barefoot. This is my current situation. And they would attach a value to that. "Oh, this is bad. I'm going to school barefooted, so I'm less than those who can afford shoes." How are you less than them? Because you may be going barefooted, but you are tearing that page up. You are tearing school up. You are acing school. So is it really the fact that you're going to school barefooted that's the issue, or is it the value that you associate with that observation? Yep. All right, let's continue. I don't want to keep you too long tonight. Let me go here. Let me use this one. All right. Previous slide. The not good things I accept, embrace, and go on them daily. Absolutely. So self-image is your current situation, your physical appearance, habits, talents. Those things can change over time. Self-image can change. All right. So do not mistake your self-image for your self-esteem. That's what I'm saying. Don't mistake it. You can work on self-image by reapplying. For that young lady who was growing up and she was tall and she felt insecure about it, she has assigned different value to that now. And now she's absolutely proud of her height. She values it. It's one of her attributes that she loves because she has reframed that. Okay. Now, the other part of self concept is I really wanted to spend some time on that. Okay. So, the other aspect of your self concept is your ideal self. This is what you aspire to be. This is where change comes in. Claudine S., this is you right here. What you said here in the last comment, that's ideal self. Who you aspire to be. This can be shaped by your personal goals, your ambition, your values, and it often acts as a guide for self improvement and self growth. So, self image, I realize that I can't say no, and I feel guilty when I say no. My self esteem, I put a negative value to that. I feel as if I'm not supposed to do that. I feel guilty about it. But what does my ideal self look like? My ideal self may look like me coming to terms with that and understanding that sometimes saying no is important for me. It's important for my health. Understanding my ideal self, where I want to get, is to know that saying no to the wrong people, the people are not supposed to be in your life, we're not supposed to join you, is a good thing to do. That's what your ideal self is all about. And you're going to aspire to reach to that stage. Yes, I see the capitalized yes. All right, here is a comment that I want to share. So I'm going to say JE says, I used to pee the bed up to 10 years old. And it was like a crime the way I was treated. You see? So the fact is, self-image, I peed the bed until I was 10 years old. What makes that really hurtful is the value that people place on it. So if you are peeing the bed until that age, somehow you are not fully developed, something is wrong with you, and so you were treated as that. But your ideal self can reposition that and say, yes, I do that. It's not because I'm bad. It's not because I'm less than. It's because maybe I have a medical issue. Maybe I'm not settled. And you can you see, that's what I'm talking about. And then people grow up having low self-esteem, low self-worth, or none at all, and they don't know why. That limitation is going to be demolished tonight in Jesus' name. Okay? Absolutely facts 100%. Absolutely. Let's continue. Let's continue. So, the simple way to remember the three things that will help with the development of your self concept or the reframing of your self concept are self image, who I think I am, my observations at this time, self esteem, how I feel about who I am. That's where you can either go towards the light, okay? So with the self-esteem, you can either go towards the light because you are adding positive value on that, or you can go towards the dark where you're affecting your self-worth and your self-esteem. And just like Claudine S. said, it's okay to identify parts of your self-image that are not desirable, parts of your self-image that are not positive. You can say, yeah, that's not a good thing, but your ideal self now kicks in and say, it's not positive, but I can work towards becoming better. I just saw this comment. VS says, somebody beat the pot cover. For those of you who do not understand that reference, there are parts in the Caribbean when we're very excited around like Olympics, sporting events, we would take the cover of two pots, pot cover, and we will bang them together, right? They make very loud, but it is supposed to symbolize our excitement. All right. So Rosa M says self-image, I'm tall. I love that you're practicing this. Self-esteem. For me, I am a no nonsense person. So, what's the value that you put to that self image? Is it positive? Is it negative? Okay. And then who has high standards? So, let's work through that. Self image, I'm tall. The self-esteem would be the value that you associate with that tallness. Is it good? Is it bad? It is something that's beneficial. Is it something that is limiting? Does it give me a disadvantage, an advantage? You're applying value to it. And then your self-esteem would be your ideal self. Ideal self. So if you are, I'm going to use this word, if you're chunky, or fat or obese or whatever term you want to give it, not because you're fat means you're obese. I'm not using them synonymously in any way. So if you're chunky, your ideal self is that you are. The value that you apply to that, it's not a good thing. Let's use obese. It's not a good thing that I'm obese or morbidly obese. Okay, that's a personal value. Your ideal self will come in now and say, I need to start exercising to lose some weight so I can be healthy. Okay, yeah. Okay. And there's certain things about you that you can't change. If you're tall, what are you going to do? Break some of your limbs to get shorter? It means you have to reframe that. All right. Let's continue. Yeah, I'm going to put the slide back up. Here's the slide. So self-image, who I think I am, self-esteem, how I feel about who I am, and then ideal self, who I want to be, who I want to become, and how I'm going to work toward that. All right. Wonderful. Now, the self-concept canvas activity, I want you to do activity 1. That's your homework. I want you to work through it. So the self-concept canvas activity, that's on page 14. You're actually going to do all 3 activities for the self-concept canvas. So write this down for your self-growth worksheet. Let me put it in. So it is the self-concept canvas. That's why I call it. And these things were developed by me. They're copywritten. So when you get the PDF, don't share it without permission, please. Thank you. And the Kindle. So that is page 14 to page 16. And they're fun. You're not writing a lot. So it's not like you're doing an essay or anything like that. They're in really colorful diagram illustrations that you'll actually have fun doing, right? So I'm going to put that in the chat. There you go, self-concept canvas. So activity 1, you're going to identify a situation, and Rosalie M, you're at a good start because you started doing that. We tweaked your answers a bit, but you're really at a good start. VS, you already gave an example about not being able to say no. I want you to find another example because we did work through that together, all right? And that's why when you share in class, by the way, let me say this, when you share in class, you get like added value. Yeah, you get added value because we're able to work through the things together, right? Perfect. So self-concept canvas, you're going to think about a situation that you've been in the past, whether now, it doesn't matter, whether it's recent in the past, write it down, and you're going to decide what was your self-image, what were the observations that you made at that time. Then you're going to talk about what was your self-esteem, what value did you place on those observations, and then finally, what was your ideal self? If it's in the past, think about what was my ideal self in the past. And if it's happening now, what is my ideal self in the future? So you're going to write that down. So just follow the instructions for activity 1, and we can work through it next week. I'm going to the chat. Hey, I'm late, but I have a big head. I used to be insecure about it, but I was always ahead of my class. At the time, I was insecure about it. Wonderful. So you have reframed that into positive, hopefully, right, T? Right? So now I just think it's bigger because I'm smarter. That's the reframing, personal value. Bam, 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 bam. That's it right there. All right, good. So please do the self-concept activity and work through that by next Tuesday. Now, what are some of the things that influence your identity? What are some of the things that influence your personal identity and your self-concept? Let's put those in the chat, please. I'm going to work through some with you. but put anything that comes to mind. What are the things that influence my personal identity? Put it in the chat. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to put your responses in the chat, and then we'll work through some. And the list that I have, it's not an exhaustive list. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's a good way to start. Feel warm. Okay, let's go. So number one, your family can influence your identity. So family plays a really foundational role in shaping your self-concept. Some of us have negative values and positive values on things, on our self-image, because of the families from which we come. Where I grew up, there is, I want to say this, where I grew up, there is this cultural thing where people identify others by their anatomy. So if you have a broad nose, they say, oh, your nose biggie, or you have a big nose. If you have a mouth that they consider to be a big mouth, they will use that to identify you. If they believe your forehead is big, they say, oh, your forehead biggie, and I do not like it. Because when it is said mockingly, and in a derogative way, our children in our families associate negative values to them. Negative values. And then all of a sudden, your child is acting out. All of a sudden, your child starts bleaching. All of a sudden, your child is doing all manner of things. And you're wondering, where did that come from? Parents, adults, because some adults are very mean to other people's children. You are helping to construct the self-concept and personal identity of adults by the way you treat children, your family. So you want to maybe go back in time. This is an exercise that you can do. Nothing you have to write down, and think about your family values, what they assigned worth to, what they did not assign worth to, and how you have brought that into your adulthood, and how it's affecting your self-esteem. Yes. All right. Number two is your culture. And some people, they will step to you and they'll say, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is not of God. Why? Because it's culture. So culture, it's that set of norms and traditions that are held by others. Some of us have a very bad habit. Let's do some call out. Some of us have a very bad habit. If we're from a culture where we don't eat a particular dish, or we don't prepare it in a particular way, we tend to be very rude and condescending to others, not realizing culture. And we cannot divorce ourselves from our culture. What we can do is to ensure that the things we don't value don't become a part of who we are within that culture. All right? Okay. So culture is one. Another thing that affects your personal identity, it's peers, your circle, your friendships. And this does not only affect teenagers. You have some, I'm going to say this, you have some grown ass adults who cannot stand on their 2 feet. They can't, they have no backbone. I'm like, are you an adult? Do you have autonomy? There are certain circles that you just should not be a part of. You should say no, and you should not feel guilty about it. Why? Because it's affecting your self-esteem. And if it's affecting your self-esteem, it is going to affect your ideal self, the person you are becoming. That's a word for somebody right there who love mix up and pasa pasa. Gossip, sorry, let me translate that. Number 4 is your life experience. The experiences you go through, the experiences that you go through can have a positive or negative impact on how you see yourself. And we all change as a result of the experiences. We all change. So think about these things, because many of these things you can reframe, and many of these things you can refuse to accept to become the best version that God created you to be. And number 5, societal expectations and media. Sometimes we just need to come off social media for a bit and not trying to adopt somebody else's life, because all that glitters is not goal, appearance of success, and then we apply value. So you're in a 1-bedroom house, or you're in a rental home, or you're in your own home, and you see somebody who owns their home, but it's a bigger home, and you believe that having a bigger home will make you more valuable, and you make that a part of your ideal self, not realizing that no, what makes you wonderful and happy is not the house, but the home and the atmosphere and the people who you share that home with. All right, so societal values, expectations, and media. So if you want, we're going to close off now. If you want to develop a healthy self-concept, you want to set personal goals, which would be your ideal self. You want to cultivate self-compassion. So I'm with my self-image, I'm not where I am at. I need to do some work, but I can cultivate self-compassion. I'm going to say that again. With the self-image, the things that I've observed, I'm not where I'm at. I need to do better. I I need to reframe the value that I associate with the self-image, which is your self-esteem, so you can become your ideal self. But during this process, I'm going to offer myself compassion. So if I want to become healthier and I want to exercise, but I stopped exercising for a week and I become inconsistent, I will identify what happens, but I'm going to give myself compassion and start again. Right? Yeah. That's how you do it, because nobody in this life is perfect. Nobody. That's why self concept is not having a perfect understanding of yourself, but a comprehensive understanding of yourself. All right. And then number 3, surround yourself with positive influences, people who are aligned with your values. And we're going to talk about that next week. People who are aligned with your interests, people who will challenge you, but positively challenge you. People who will check in regularly and help to reinforce your positive self-image. And then number 4 is to engage in self-reflection. So if you're taking notes, these are the 4 things. Number 1, set personal goals. That's your ideal self. How can you become better without judgment? Number 2, cultivate self-compassion. When you don't do well, pat yourself, hug yourself, and ask God for strength to move forward. Number 3, surround yourself with positive influences. If you want to exercise, but you're around people who do not value exercise, what do you think is going to happen? If you love family, and you want to be faithful and you want to be devoted to your spouse, but you're hanging around people and have associations with people who do not value faithfulness, who do not value family, who toss their spouse whatever way they want to, then what do you think will happen? So surround yourself with positive influences. And number 4, engage in self-reflection. Remember that quantum Zeno effect. Slow things down, process what you're going through so you can get insights from those reflections. I already spoke about this, but the self-concept worksheet activity 2, for that activity, you have an actual diagram, and it's on my phone. You have an actual diagram where you can actually write in what I just shared with you, those 4 things. You can write a personal goal for the week that you want to achieve. You're going to state how you will practice self-compassion. You're going to identify a positive influence, somebody who can help you to stay on track. And then you're going to identify one way that you can reflect. And not because this is activity 2, you're going to do it and be done with it. This is something that you can carry on for as long as you live. Right? That's self-concept canvas. Okay. And I also want you to do activity 3 of the self-concept canvas. And this is where you're going to identify as many many positive traits. I've given you a lot of shelves. Don't know if you can see it. I've given you a lot of shelves. Let me remove this. Here you go. This is activity 3. I've given you a lot of shelves that you can write as many, 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 many positive traits about yourself, right? And then you'll pack your cart with the 7 that you cannot live without. You do not want these 7 traits to be separated from you. You're going to have fun completing the self-canvas worksheet. You will, and you're going to learn so much about yourself. So let's recap. Self-concept, I want you to know that self-concept evolves over time. It does. It evolves over time. It's influenced by both internal factors and external factors. And by understanding what influences your self concept, you can take steps towards building a self concept that aligns with your true values and aspirations. That's what you want. You want to understand what influences it so you can discard the bad influence, accept or adopt the positive influence so you can really come into true alignment with who you are and who you want to be. So let's do some check-in questions. Put 1 in the chat if the answer to these questions is yes. Put no if the answer to the question is no. Put 2. Number 1, are you able to define self-concept? What is self-concept? Number 2, were you able to explore the influences on your self-concept, your family, your peers, your life experience? Were you able to explore those? And number 3, do you now know, using the 4 things that I shared with you, how to develop self-concept? So there are 2 strategies I shared. The first strategy to develop your self-concept is to know the difference between self-image, self-esteem, and ideal self. You can use that strategy. And then the second is to use the 4 approach, where you're setting a personal goal, you are applying self-compassion, you're associating yourself with people who can help you, and you're reflecting regularly. If the answer, I'm seeing yeses in the chat, put those yes in if that's you. All right, wonderful. I want to thank you for coming to class this evening as we looked at exploring personal identity. Was this helpful? Was this evening helpful? Did you learn? Did you get to process some things? I'm Pops and Francis, your personal development educator. You are in tune to the self-awareness series. We're here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Stay connected. Join us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and you can also visit our website. Oh, this number needs to be changed. The number is 631-635-0431. So this number was updated, but I forgot to update this slide. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. We're 7 minutes past the 1 hour mark. It was good, though. I enjoyed processing with you, learning from you, teaching you. And don't forget to share with your friends. Share the link with everybody. Take care. Toodles. Bye-bye. Adios. Au revoir. Bye, everybody.